Hi guys, it's bulb planting day. So I've got a few bags of alliums and windflowers, and what else did I get? Croci, and I'm going to be planting them. So here's the bed of faded annuals and perennials, and there's my dog, Maddie, in front, and Miguel, right outside my front door. And I would like to put some bulbs in here so that I have some color in early spring, but there's going to be a bit of a challenge because I'm not ready to take these plants out. And as you can see, I already put some fall plants in. I've got some mums and cabbages that I just planted, so I'm going to have to get creative and put bulbs in around them. So I just watered everything really well to make this clay soil a little softer, make it easier to dig. And now I'm just going to move these plants out of the way and find a spot. I think that would be a great spot for my alliums to come up, right in the center of the bed. So I'm going to start digging. I like to lay the bulbs out where I'm going to plant them so I can have a better idea of where to dig, and I'm not just winging it. These are the alliums, and they're pretty big. Ordinarily, I would plant the later blooming plants in front and the earlier ones in the back, so that when the earlier ones fade, the later blooming ones hide their fading foliage. But in this case, the alliums are the tallest, and the windflowers and the crocuses are much smaller, so I'm going to plant them in the front anyway. This is an anemone corm. It's not a bulb. A corm's a little different, well, a lot different than a bulb, as you can see. And there are three kinds of, in quotes, bulbs that we can plant now. There are true bulbs, corms, and tubers. Tubers are potatoes, as we're all familiar with those. And then the corms are these windflowers, which are also anemone, crocuses. They all grow a little differently. So I've placed the windflower anemone corms in front of the alliums, but I've also put some in between, because while the alliums are growing, we'll be able to see them through there. And those are smaller, and they're supposed to be planted about 3 inches apart and 1 inch deep, whereas the larger the bulb is, the deeper it needs to go, and usually the farther apart it should be spaced. And here are the crocus corms. And what I like to do with crocuses, silly as it sounds, is just like throw them up in the air and see where they fall. And then I just place them a little bit. That makes them look more natural when they come up. It's also called naturalizing. That's a good technique when you want to plant them in your lawn to have some early coverage and color. And that's fine to plant them in the lawn, because by the time the lawn really starts growing, especially the early blooming crocuses, they will have faded and you can just mow them. Now, there are all kinds of bulb planters on the market. There are augers that you can attach to your battery-powered or cordless drill. There's something called a dibber, which is just like a stake that you poke in the ground. But, I find that usually just a regular spade, can do the job fine. So these need to go 3 inches deep, about 10 inches apart. I've crowded them a little bit, but that's okay. That looks good. And then here we go. No gloves. I'm just too impatient for gloves. And there we go. So I'm going to continue with all of these others. And that's it. Then I just kind of step on the whole bed to make sure that the soil is firm. And just pack it in. Now, squirrels might dig them up. There are a whole bunch of things you can do to prevent that. One of them is putting blood meal in with the bulbs into the planting hole, because that not only nourishes them, but it also makes critters think that there are predators in there, and they'll stay away. All right, so that's it. So I've just planted my little garden here, and it literally took me 10 minutes, maybe less, and I will report back in spring.